Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here. It's 77 Saturday. It's Saturday morning, and we do Share Love Club on Saturdays in the off season. And we're sharing the love for a player that played for the Raptors this year that came in as a 10-day contract, played for two 10-day contracts, and then he got a two-way contract, and he ended up playing 35 games for the Raptors this season. And, things I don't know are going to work out for him to continue to play for the Raptors because it seems like we're going in another direction. But I want to say this, that if we do have issues or something, or there is some sort of thing that comes up, I would like them to revisit this guy and maybe ask him to come back in some sort of form down the road, because he really did help in a way this year that I feel like we need. And in some ways, I was very much in the O-Rob train versus Castleton as far as deciding who should go forward. They're the same age, actually. I thought that Robinson, because he'd been around in the league longer, Orlando Robinson, that he was older than Colin Castleton, but they're the same age, honestly. So it's like the whole argument about projects and what their potential is. It's like, well, I don't know. Maybe there is more promise in Colin, but I was in Team Robinson. Really was. Like at the time when Bobby and Masai were maybe making that decision at the end of the season, I was like, I like what I've seen from Orlando, and I think that what Orlando Robinson was providing was more of what Jakob provides, and that's toughness, that's physicality, that's the ability to take a lot of tough, strong energy from the opposing team and help our team do more down low, whether it's rebounding or scoring. And I appreciate him for that. I really do. I mean, that's a tough position to play, the big man, because you're demanded on for so many different things. You're demanded on to be fast up and down the court, at the same time being strong enough to fight with the biggest guys in the league. And, it takes special athletes and talents to be able to meet that in the middle and be able to be a good NBA player that plays at a very high level. I think Orlando Robinson, in his first few years in the NBA around Sacramento and Miami, was not getting as much of a chance, maybe just at the end of the bench as a end of the game kind of guy when the game's over. And here in Toronto this year, Orlando got the biggest opportunity he's gotten in his NBA career. And I think that he's very appreciative of this. One of the things I really liked about Orlando was how quickly he took to Raptors culture, and he fit in. Like, he really was enjoying being a Raptor, being with that team, feeling the vibes of the team. And, I feel like there was nothing wrong with him being on this team. And in some ways, I was sad when Orlando Robinson was not going to go forward with us all of a sudden. And I don't know. I don't know what could happen. This is the kind of thing where it's like, I'm not going to say he'll never be on our team again, but he could be. He could be, seriously. I don't know if there's some sort of backup insurance plan down the road, because he's currently a free agent. Nobody else has got dibs on him right now. And this summer is wide open for Orlando. And you know what? I would say this, from some of the stuff he did for the Raptors this past season, he should have some interest from one of the 30 teams. He should. He deserves it, honestly, because I don't know. Maybe Masai and Bobby saw a limitation with him or something that's just not going to work out for the future. And that's why he was great to try out this year. And he was very successful on the Raptors this year. I really think he was. He was helping. He was starting a lot. He was really, really a presence as far as physicality in the lane. And I liked that he didn't shy away from the contact. In some ways, you could look at a guy who's on a 10-day contract, and they may not go all out or be like, I'm not willing to put my body on the line in this temporary situation with this team that has not made a strong commitment to me. But that was never the case with Orlando Robinson. Orlando Robinson, every time he put on the Raptors jersey, he went out there to war. And he fought with his body, and he put it on the line. He took licks, and he took hits, and he went in there and he fought for the Raptors in Toronto. And I respect that. I respect the hell out of that. In some ways, I like that so much that he really was ready to go to battle for us. And he did. He went to battle with battle. because Battle's on our team. But I'm just saying, he showed up every single night. He put on the Raptors jersey and he put in a strong effort, if not always successful, but most of the time, very, very good player. I like the fact that in the beginning, he was kind of like, I can shoot threes, and then he'd shoot a three, and I'd be like, yeah, that's not really working, Orlando. But then by the end of the season, I saw him shoot enough threes consistently. It's like, yeah, he can shoot threes. He's not lying. He can actually shoot some threes okay. We'd see that little Orlando Robinson three-pointer every once in a while in the games, and I'd smile because it's like, yeah, that dude, awesome, man. And I always like this effort. I always like this drive. I always like this fight. There may have been some deficiencies in his game that don't put him above Colin Castleton for consideration to be on our team, but there's definitely some things that he did for our team that we need more of in the next year and the years to come on the Raptors. And that is a big man that plays with physicality, takes up space, meets his opponent right where they're going to meet them, doesn't shy away from it. And you know what? He plays solid. He's a good teammate. He's a good team player as far as playing alongside with other guys and playing in cohesion. I like the fact that he was a good free throw shooter for the most part. And, you know, he just was willing always to put his body on the line and go in there. He was taking licks, y'all. You know, that's one of the things that you don't hear enough about is some of the big men in the league get hit a lot. And they get beat up, man. I'm not going to lie. And, you know, Scotty gets hit. Jakob gets hit. RJ gets hit. Orlando Robinson got hit. You know, Jakob Poeltl gets hit. We don't notice it because he's such a big, huge, strong dude. And he's not really out there being a wuss and be like, oh, I got hit. You know, he's like, no, he shrugs it off. He may be in pain at times because he's like, damn, I just took a hit from beef stew real quick. And it's like, it's not fun, you know. It's like, you know, this is the kind of, that's what that position is. That's why when I'm scouting for this 2025 draft, I'm looking for men that can go in there and play a real man's game, a man's game. And that's going in the paint and dealing with a 7 foot, 250, 260, 280 pound man. And, you know, Jalen Duren's in this league, y'all. Come on now. Y'all need to be strong to play center in this league. And Orlando Robinson was in that mold. He was that kind of guy. And, you know, for his deficiency, I think he is a very quality center. And in some ways, I wish him all the best. I hope that he can come back and be a Raptor again someday. And I hope that his stint with the Toronto Raptors this year sets him up for opportunities for the rest of this year that are being really, really good for him. I'm rooting for him. He's got a fan in me. He may be only a Raptor for 35 games and he never play for us again, but he has good honor in his reputation and name in my book as far as things, because he came here, he was a pro. He put his body on the line, the 35 games he played for us, and I respect the hell out of it. So, y'all, we're sharing the love for Orlando Robinson, a player that played on the Raptors this year. And apparently he's not a part of our future plans. But in some ways, I wish he was. Because I feel like what he brought to our team was a toughness, a defense, a rebounding, all that kind of stuff that was really good. Maybe there's deficiencies in other places, and those were too egregious for Bobby and Masai to say, yeah, but if we get Castleton, we can do this. I don't know what their thinking was exactly. But, you know, a decision was made. And it's nothing against Orlando, man. He didn't do anything wrong, bro. You were awesome, and I appreciate you, man. And you'll be a low-key legend to deeper Raptor fans like the Raptor Freaks that will always remember you. And seriously, when you come back through, man, we're going to be cheering for you, man, because I'm telling you, man, I can tell when people are wholeheartedly behind where they're at. And when he came to Toronto, he took this opportunity. He really, really took it seriously. And some people come to Toronto and just be like half-assing it. It's like some people be kind of like aloof. You know, I could think of a Javon Freeman Liberty coming up here, and it's like, you know, I'll come up here and enjoy what I'm doing up here while I'm here. And, you know, he's using the 905 and the Raptors to try and further himself. And, you know, in some ways, all these guys are doing that. But there's a bit of a give and take with Orlando Robinson where he's giving while he's also taking the time, the minutes, and the play on the court. He's giving to us with his body and his sacrifice and his battle in there. And I appreciate you for that, Orlando. It's not gone unnoticed. And, you know, I hope you see this stream so that you can hear how real Raptors fans like the Raptors Freaks feel about you, and they appreciate you. even if you're not necessarily in our future plans for our franchise. So I wish him all the best, man. I honestly hope he gets on an NBA team this year and he gets more and more of his dreams fulfilled. Orlando Robinson, I salute you, man. Fresno State's Orlando Robinson. Yeah, man. And I think he likes the Raptors a lot because, like I said, we gave him the best opportunity his whole entire NBA career so far. He had his career stats with us. He got to start games. He got to play solid rotation minutes on regular basis when he was in that Raptors jersey. And I think that he, in some ways, even if he feels sad about not going forward with us, he's very grateful for the opportunity and the time on the court in a Raptors jersey to showcase who he is. And hopefully this will cause more opportunities for him in the future. So, yeah, you guys, let me know how y'all feel about O-Rob. And let's talk about Orlando. And, let's wish him well and share the love for Big O-Rob. That's right, man. Let's see what y'all are saying in the chat this morning. Boom goes the dynamite. Boom goes the dynamite. Trevor Jay's here, the commissioner of fun. Trevor Jay, he is such an awesome guy. He is such a great supporter, a benefactor to this channel, and I appreciate him every single day, every morning. Trevor Jay, how are you, sir? How's the weather down in Florida? Oh, well, it's looking pretty good, according to Scotty's Instagram. Here's the truth. People going to paint their own picture of you. Yeah. Yeah. In some ways, it's none of my business how people look at me. And my way is like, it's just like, just be you, Lex. You got to be unapologetically you. You're not everybody's flavor. And in some ways, if you catered to everyone and made yourself just a bland, common, generic thing, well, in some ways, maybe you'd be more successful, but you wouldn't be truly yourself. And in some ways, you can't be trying to cater yourself to everybody. I definitely don't do that on this channel. I mean, if I really wanted to get 10,000 subscribers, I'm sure I could change things real fast and get there a lot quicker. But that's not what my goal is. And yeah, I hear this, man. I hear this. That's right. They're going to look at you how they want to look at you. And sometimes the way they look at you, Trevor, is through the lens of their own experience and hurt and pain and happiness and all kinds of things that they think about. And they may be jaded. They may be judging you because of somebody they knew before that's not like you, but they're transposing what they knew of the other person onto you just because they may be some sort of similar trait that's the same, but it's not exactly the same person. So, yeah, it's just like that. You can't be a people pleaser. You can't please everybody. And seriously, there's always going to be somebody who's going to be pissed off. So, yeah, half the time it ain't even close to who you really are, but that ain't your load to carry. That's right. That's right. That ain't your load to curry. That's right. Let them believe what they want. You just keep being real, keep moving, and let your life speak louder than their version ever could. I love that, man. That's beautiful music to my ears. The words of wisdom from Trevor Jay this morning, man, because I love individuality. I love people not being cookie cutters. I love people not falling like sheep. I love people that are different. Diversity is strength. And people should be all different. Some people would like to cater everybody to be robots and be exactly the same and think the same. And that, that is never, ever good for the world. Trust me. Thank you for the words of wisdom, Trevor Jay, and be your true self. That's what he's saying to us this morning. I thank you for that. And I will. I'm going to. I'll try. I'll try. Trevor Jay said in the WNBA yesterday, Connecticut beat Indiana. That's a close game. That is a close game. Connecticut Sun and Indiana Fever. Connecticut winning by just 2. Of course, this is one of the first games. Caitlin Clark is out right now, and that's tough for a Fever at the moment. The thing I don't get is their center got 11 turnovers. I know because she's on my WNBA fantasy team. Tina Charles, what are you doing? Seriously, Connecticut Sun, Tina Charles got like 18 points and 11 turnovers in the game yesterday. And absolutely submarine my fantasy score with her. She would have got so many more points if she hadn't got so many turnovers. It's just like we were talking about the other day. Like somebody in here said, one of my players got a negative score. I think it was Kaz. And I'm like, yeah, those turnovers will hurt. Well, just imagine I got a minus 22 on her because she got 11 turnovers. They cost -2 each turnover, y'all. Seriously, it's really bad. You don't want to get turnovers. So despite Tina Charles getting 11 turnovers by herself in the game yesterday, the Connecticut Sun still beat the Fever without Caitlin Clark by 2 points. Amazing. Amazing. The Liberty beat the Washington Mystics. Yes, the Liberty continue to roll on 6-0. They have not lost a game yet this season. They're looking real good with their retool, Natasha Cloud, and a lot of great stuff happening with their new crew there. Really, really good stuff. The Aces beat the Sparks. Good game there. Yeah, good game there. That's two powerhouses of the WNBA, two very important franchises. A good battle there. And Minnesota beat Phoenix also to continue to be undefeated at 6-0. The Minnesota Lynx taking care of Phoenix Mercury, and Atlanta beat Seattle Storm. There's our WNBA update from Commissioner Jay. And I love that, man. In some ways, I like that you're interjecting the WNBA for me to talk about, because I want to talk about it more and more as we get closer and closer to the Toronto Tempo's debut for the season next year. I'm looking at the standings this morning and I see, the Valkyrie have 2 wins already. And I'm like, man, that's so nice. And I'm thinking about next year. It's going to be nice when the Tempo gets some wins. Their first ever franchise win is going to be special, and it's going to be awesome. And I can't wait to see their record and where they would be at this point next season. And kind of looking at the Golden State Valkyries and thinking about them being in their expansion year right now and what that fan base and that city's getting to go through. Well, it'll be our turn next year, guys. It should have been this year. Ed Rogers, 2-finger salute to you. But you know what? We're going to get the team no matter what, and that's fantastic. And you know what? I'm excited for some hydrogen blue Toronto Tempo. That's right. Hydrogen blue. Let's go. Let's go. Trevor's saying that Aja Wilson became the first player in WNBA history last night. 35 points, 10 rebounds, 3 steals, and 3 blocks in the game. So it's the stocks that are the dubious and notoriety of this thing, is the fact that she got the 30 points and 10 rebounds, but also 3 steals and 3 blocks in the game. Man, that's a good fantasy score for whoever has Aja Wilson. I believe who has Aja Wilson early. I forget. It's somebody. I think it might be. Who has Aja? I don't even remember. Somebody drafted Aja. The first pick drafted Aja, I think. So that would have been. I don't even remember. Either way, that's a good fantasy score that Aja Wilson got yesterday. I'd go look it up. I'll go look at the fantasy though, real quick, and I'll go over the teams that are leading right now. There's 2 more days of play today and tomorrow, and then this week will be over. Right now, we got Kareem beating Edmond pretty bad. That's normal. I should expect that Kareem, will get a chance to beat Edmond. Edmond's too busy filming. Edmond's run around Kensington Market in the last couple of days filming stuff, which is very cool to see, Edmond. I like to see that you're back in my old neighborhood. JP is beating Trucker Kaz right now in his matchup. Hopefully JP has woken up and he's running his team. So go on then, Country Kong. In the battle of Fiercey versus Cool Cat, it is MJ with a slight lead over Cool Cat right now, but it's a very close battle, and I'm sure Cool Cat is going to put in a good lineup today, and it'll make it very competitive over the last 2 days of this weekend. Meredith is winning over James in the second week matchup there. The champion, 2-time champion, is taking on James right now, and I am leading Logical Raptors Fanatic in my matchup right now. So, yeah, I'm not messing around this year. I'm serious. Because Tempo's coming, I'm really taking WNBA fantasy very seriously this year. I'm going more in depth like I used to, and I am really, really coming for that trophy this year, MK. So you better be ready. I set the tone in the first week. That is how I'm going to go the whole year. So you watch out, Meredith. I'm coming to take that trophy from you, 2-time champion. There won't be no 3-peat. That's right. We got to have some smack talk, right? Anybody else want to get in on this action? Come on, James. Come on, Cass. Let's go. That's right. Let's go. Let's go. Randolph Phillips is in the house. Let's go. Blessings, beloved Raptor freaks. Most informative gang. Make the best of every moment of life. Today is what you've got. Tomorrow is not promised. Live life to the fullest. So true. So true. Things can change. Things happen over time. We get older. There's all kinds of stuff that can happen. And, things can happen in a blink of an eye. You don't want that kind of stuff to happen in a negative or bad way. You want good stuff to happen in a blink of an eye, but it goes all kinds of ways. Things just happen. It's up to you whether you want to make it a really bad thing or a good thing. And even the most saddest things can actually be some of the most beautiful things also. But either way, I appreciate Randolph's words of wisdom for today. It's like, make today count, because tomorrow's not promised. Blessings to the Phillips family and all of the Raptor Freak families out there. That's right. Chris comes saying, good kid, just not athletic enough. I mean, that's probably part of the critique, is that, he's maybe got some limitations in speed and getting around and stuff like that. And maybe, I would see at times with Orlando, sometimes Scotty would be frustrated with him. There would be different players on the team that may be a little frustrated with him as far as placement and where he's supposed to be. Now, there was a learning curve for both him and Castleton this year, as far as when they came in And I felt like Orlando learned fast, and he kind of figured out our system. And if he was doing anything that wasn't exactly right at times, well, he adjusted quickly and he listened and he fixed it. And I'll give him credit for that. But you know what? Chris Combs probably right. There's certain limitations every athlete has, and some of it is just how athletic they are. So I don't know. I like the aspect of Orlando as like a third or center or a good backup big for just taking fouls and being physical and being out there to help shore up things. Once again, I say one of the biggest weaknesses the Raptors have had over the last few years is at center. You get Pirtle out, you are in trouble, the Toronto Raptors franchise. And that's why Orlando Robinson is good insurance to have around, even at the end of your roster, even if you're not playing him in the regular rotation all the time. I'm just saying that was part of the reason why I like holding on to him, because he's the center depth. And he could be very, very helpful for that. That's right. Trevor saying Orlando was coming on hope. He hoping he'd get another chance, make threes when you needed. Yeah. I like him a lot, man. I like his personality. Like I said, he respected coming to Toronto and being on the team. And I felt like he fit the culture. He felt like fit in the scenes, but maybe he didn't. I don't know. Maybe he didn't take to the other guys as well in the camaraderie. But I would like to think he did. I mean, he was at the art thing. He's in our cool picture, our cover photo on our Raptors Freak Facebook group. I mean, it's tough to say what it is exactly. You know, Bobby and Masai, they live on the moon. And I don't totally understand all of the pertinent information that they're privy to that the public is not. And also, we don't even know what their things that they care about the most are as to why they would make the decision between Colin or Orlando. So it's like we can speculate about it all day, just like we speculate why Chris Boucher don't play, but we don't know the truth. And we may never know the truth. And it's partly just because that is proprietary knowledge of the president of the Raptors and the GM of the Raptors, Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster. And, it's not for us to know. That's right. But, yeah, he is a great kid. I really liked Orlando a lot, man. And like I said, I have no hate towards him. In fact, I'll root for him going forward for the rest of his career. You know, as long as he's not coming up against us in an important situation. Boss Health's back. Good to see Boss Health back in this chat. Man, good to see you, man. Every morning, I'm doing it at 9:30. And, if you want to come back through and talk Raptors with me anytime, I know people have busy lives. And sometimes, it's not a good time to talk about Raptors or it's off time. But you know what? If you get a chance, you want to come see me, hey, come see me. Boss Health's here. Orlando's numbers are not worth the contract, no matter how much he was available. Yeah, I don't know if that's totally true. It's not always about numbers, Boss Health. I'll make the argument. Sometimes on your roster, you do need role players in certain kind of roles. And I'm just saying the need for him is there on the Raptors. The need is there for him. It's not necessarily about the numbers. Now, Bobby and Masai were extrapolating off of potential growth, potential, and development. Maybe his ceiling is a lot lower than Colin Castleton. And that may be part of the difference is that, Orlando may be hitting his peak as far as what he can do on a basketball court in the NBA. And Castleton, they look at him and they're maybe like, you know what, he could be developed in this way on offense. We could be doing this with him. If he bulks up, he gets this. It really is that kind of stuff. That's probably the difference there is the development potential and ceiling for Castleton may be much higher than Robinson. And, I don't look at the numbers. Honestly, his numbers were fine. He had very good numbers this year. You're going to say that his numbers weren't worth the contract. Well, you could put $2 million or $3 million a year on a guy for numbers like what he had. I mean, seriously, what was his numbers? He shot pretty good. He shot about 45% from the field. He shot 34 from three. He shot 79% at the free throw line, which as a big, that's really good when you shoot almost 80% at the free throw line. He averaged 6 rebounds a game, 2 assists, half a steal, half a block, and 8 points. Those are solid numbers for a backup center. And he was used at start many, many games when Pirtle was out. So I can't agree with this totally, Boss Take. His numbers are fine for his role. And his role is to take hits and foul people and be physical and carve out room in the paint so that RJ can come driving in and lay it up. Stuff like that. Randolph saying, Lex, with the Zion accusations looming over his career, Pelicans may end up taking Malawatch to replace him if things got worse. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's a replacement. Zion don't play center, but I'm hearing the overtures more and more that, yeah, Common could be drafted at 6 by New Orleans. There's like 3 teams ahead of us in the draft that are very much possibly going to take Common Malawach, and that includes Brooklyn and New Orleans. And I'm ready for Common not to be available, but hey, if that happens and he's there, and Masai can say, "Hey, we're getting Malawach." But if not, we're going to be ready for whatever happens. It's draft day. You got to be fast on your toes and ready to react. And when you're on the clock and you see who's there, and you got to analyze and who's got it. You got your draft board from before and your rankings of coming in, Bobby Webster. And well, we'll just have to see how it all lays out. We'll just have to see how it all lays out. But, I think it's true, Randolph, that Common probably will not be available to the Raptors to possibly be drafted by us. But in this draft, like Bobby Masai said, this is a very deep draft with all kinds of good talent throughout it. And the great thing is there's a lot of good center talent in this draft. So I feel confident that either at the 9th pick or the 39th pick, the Raptors will get another center that will add to the depth that we need. Yeah. So, this stuff with Zion, I don't want to talk about it too much. I'm wondering if it is related to that Mariah girl that was going off on him on Twitter a couple of summers ago. Is this the same woman that's suing him right now with these rape allegations? Yeah, I don't know. Either way, I wish well for Zion because I know he's best friends with RJ. They're Duke teammates, and RJ cares a lot about Zion Williamson. And in some ways, this is sad for him, for his friend. So hopefully this is malarkey and he can be cleared. But if he did do something criminal, well, he should be punished. So I'm not going to judge Zion for this. In some ways, like I've said before, the private lives of players is not my business. And I'd like to talk basketball more than this kind of stuff. But it's on ESPN's front page, and it's a big, huge news story. And so it's fair game. It's fair game right now. That's right. Yeah, this is crazy. Nako's saying, Lex, would you ever do a respectful disagreement day? Of course. I feel like I do it every day, Gerald. I feel like I do it every day. I want to do something here, Jerry. I want to give you special status. Seriously, right now. Because listen, I know that you work a lot during my stream, or you're not able to talk to me because you're walking to work or you're going to work or something like that. I want to give you a special status, Jerry. I'd like you to be able to be allowed to call me on the show any day of the week. If I am not doing the Thursday Think Tank, you could call me. Like if you want to call me right now, Jerry, I put you on the air right now and we could have a respectful disagreement day. In some ways, I think that would be fun. This is special for Nako the Nacho because, like I said, Nako's a friend of mine way before I started doing this channel, and we have a rapport. And okay, he's calling me. All right, let me get the phone. Hang on. Yeah, we used to write comedy together. So sometimes there's some funny stuff that's said between Nako and I. That's why I'm like all about it. All right, y'all. It is Gerald, aka Nako the Nacho. Wait, let me get my headphones on right. They're on backwards.
Not on backwards.
Yeah, if I, you know what happens if I wear my headphones backwards, Jerry? The words come into my ears backwards, and it's all alien language.
Shit.
Yeah. So, Jerry, what is this respectful disagreement day you're talking about? Let's explain this to me, please.
Okay, so I actually think we were talking about fits and best player available, particularly around Scotty Barnes. And I think we both agree that drafting Scotty over Jalen, certainly the correct decision.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm going to argue that if the Raptors were to do the pick 4 fit, they would have drafted Josh Giddy. Masai scouted Giddy in Australia. I think this was pretty well documented.
Okay.
I think Josh Giddy, like coming into that draft, he was playing with like grown men in a competitive league. Very much like a do-it-all like ball handler, probably a better ball handler than like Scotty at the time. So I would actually argue that like if like the Raptors were to draft on fit in the Cade Cunningham Scotty Barnes draft, they would have drafted Josh Giddy.
Whoa. All right. Respectful disagreement day. All right. Let's see. All right. First of all, Jerry, I like what you're saying. I'm going to start with some sugar, and I'll give you the sour in a sec.
Okay.
You may be right in some ways about like that. I've never really thought about the whole idea of the Raptors drafting Giddy instead of Scotty, because first of all, like it never even occurred to me that they could have done that. But you know what? I don't. All right, this is where I'll respectfully disagree. Scotty is a way better player than Josh Giddy. And
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So if we're talking about better fit, they got it right. But it's interesting that you bring up a woulda, coulda, shoulda, where the Raptors draft Josh Giddy instead of Scotty. And I wonder what that would look like. That's what, when you started talking about this, I'm like, what would that look like right now? That'd be so weird, man.
Because I feel like with Josh Giddy, like drafting Josh Giddy would be a move to like build around like a Siakam kind of like OG core. Because like
so what you're saying, hang on, Jerry, what you're saying is if we had drafted Giddy, you think we would have kept Anunoby and Siakam around him?
I think that would be like the move. I think that would be like the core like they would try to go for.
All right. I'm getting frustrated. And you know why? Because this is all stuff that happened years ago, Jerry. And we aren't Marty McFly, my guy. I can't be Doc Brown. I ain't got no hair. And you ain't Marty McFly, Michael J. Fox, my guy.
We aren't. I'm not saying like the Raptors should have drafted Giddy. I'm very glad Josh Giddy isn't on our team. I'm very,
we can't go back to the future, bro. We can't change it. So we go the way we go.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
But like, you know what? It's interesting. It's interesting, though. You're saying, like, and maybe you're right, that if we had drafted Giddy instead, maybe our core would have stayed the same with him involved. But well, I don't know what Fred would have factored in that. He probably would have had to leave either way. But I don't know, man. I don't know. In some ways, I don't like doing this, man, because we are where we are presently in the now, and we can't second guess where we've been. I mean, that's not the way to live, Jerry. Come on now.
I agree with all that. I think my ultimate point is I think like if fit was such a concern with how the Raptors draft, Giddy would be a Raptor. If fit was such a concern.
Well, my counterpoint to that in respectful disagreement call with Jerry is that Scotty fits with anything or anybody. And in some ways, that's part of the reason why Scotty is so amazing is that, you know, he is the ultimate fit in all kinds of different ways. And that's what I would argue with that. Now, if you're saying just an especially fit with this and this, I would say that what they did was they drafted the best available player at 4 when they drafted Scotty Barnes. And in fact, I would make the argument that he's better than his best friend Cade, and he could have been number 1 in that draft.
I see them as interchangeable, but that's fair.
I think you're right. They are very equal right now. And let's not even talk about Evan Mobley, but I think they're very equal right now. Cunningham and Barnes.
Mobley and Franz, I think, are very overrated. Just because, like, I think, like, look at their team. Scotty doesn't play with, like, well, Scotty last year wasn't playing with, like, an all-star. Evan was playing with an all-star. Franz was playing with an all-star.
No, like, Evan plays with 3 all-stars. Let's just put it that way. He plays with 3 all-stars, and Franz is second banana to Paulo. And Scotty's number 1 banana. And, you know, in some ways, you're right. Scotty's not playing next to another all-star. But I'm going to say right now, Star J. Barrett's an all-star in my heart. That's what I'll say right there.
Fair enough.
Well, Jerry, you want to talk about anything else real quick, man? I want to do music reactions with you, bro. I asked you yesterday, and I have the videos still. I didn't do them. I'm just waiting for you, bro. So maybe on Discord sometime there's going to be some special extra content on the Discord server where Jerry and Lex watch new music videos and react to them and critique them and talk about music. And y'all can be a part of it too. On our special Discord server, you have to be a member of the channel and you get access to it. But yeah, we will watch some old, some not old, but the new heavy metal and hip hop videos I got on this list, Jerry. I don't know if you're busy later. Maybe we can do a little bit today since it looks like it's going to rain.
Fair enough. I have voice acting work to do, but we can definitely find the time for sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll just coordinate on the Discord, Jerry. I don't mind this becoming a regular segment on days that you can do this. So, You know, it's awesome, man. I appreciate talking to you, and I still got to get you out here to see my place, bro. You got to get in the car and drive out here, man. Yeah, I'll let you know the coordinates of the place where I am on the globe.
The globe.
On the globe. All right, Jerry. I'm gonna go, man. I want to keep the show moving. I appreciate you calling in with your respectful disagreement, and I don't even know what that's a disagreement. You're just talking about a dream scenario where we drafted the Australian Josh Giddy.
I think I'm talking about like a philosophy that like we see the Raptors as having, but
well, there's definitely it really is only two things you do in the draft. You either draft for need or you draft the best available. And that's what we're gonna have to see. I think that the two picks we got, one of them's gonna be one, and one is gonna be the other. And that it very well be the 9th pick is the best available player talent-wise. And then the need is picked up and the 39th pick in the second round, and that's a center. So we'll have to see. They may take the most talented guy that's available, and then they'll just have to figure it out later, just like Oklahoma City. You know what I'm saying? That's right. Yeah. Jerry, you got anything funny to say? You got to spruce up. What kind of voice acting you doing right now, man?
Pretty much whatever like I can get work for. I like audition for a bunch of like amateur projects, and whatever I take I kind of do. Yeah, just kind of like whatever falls into my lap is what I do. I haven't found out a niche yet.
Cool. So you're actually getting work. Yeah.
Not very professional work, but I am getting work.
Awesome. Well, you're in that one group that Alan, I don't know. I might add you to a group on Facebook after this in case you're not in it. It might be very helpful to you. It's a networking Facebook group for voice actors in Toronto.
Sure. Cool.
All right, cool, Jerry. All right, well, I wish you luck with your voice acting stuff today. You guys can tell he's got a good voice for voice acting, right? Yeah, I love Jerry. Jerry's awesome. All right, Gerald.
I appreciate it.
All right, man. Thanks for calling, man. You're not working. That's why you could call me today, right?
I'm actually not working for the month. My situation allows me to not have a job for this month. Next month, I'm back to working.
Okay. And did you move out? You're not living with your folks?
Yes.
Where are you living right now, Jerry? Oh, don't tell her the exact address, just the vicinity.
I live near Port Credit.
You live near Port Credit? Okay,
yeah.
Maybe I have to get in the truck and drive down and see your new swaggy place also. All right, we're doing too much personal call right here. I love you, Jer. I'll talk to you later, my guy. Let's go Raptors.
Go Raptors.
Yeah, cool, man. That's awesome, man. So he's doing work with voice acting more. Now, he did school for writing and comedy. And I'm glad to hear that he's pursuing work in voice acting. That's fantastic stuff, man. All right. There we go. Our first respectful disagreement call from Naco the Nacho. I feel like that was a dream segment. It's like, this is my dream segment. I dreamed that Josh Giddy was a Raptor. I don't know. That's weird thing is that Josh Giddy got traded already in his career. And that's a weird thing to do. But that may have more to do with Oklahoma City Thunder than anything. I wonder if Josh feels bad about the run that the Thunder are on right now. Seriously, you got to think about that. He got traded last offseason, and now all of a sudden it looks like they're going to be champions. Man, is Josh Giddy going through some things like DeRozan did? Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Let's keep going. Chris comes saying one of the best parts of his game is good. 3-ball from a big. Yeah, I like that. In some ways, I thought he was lying. He's like, oh, I can shoot threes. I'm like, well, shit, you can shoot threes. Come on, man. And then when he first shot a couple of them, I was like, no, they're not going in. And then he started making them. I'm like, oh, yeah, he can shoot threes. So I started to trust him then. Boss Health saying, let's talk about a championship type of center, not a G leaguer. He didn't even play for our G League team this year. You're calling him a G leaguer, and he came and played only for the Raptors this season. He did not go to Mississauga once, and he was on a two-way. He could have, but he didn't. That's because he's not a G leaguer, bro. He was on Sioux Falls Skyforce for Miami and also Stockton Kings for Sacramento. He's done G League. But this guy, man, I'm telling you, he's in between. He may not be a full-fledged NBA player because he's a free agent right now. But I could see him getting hooked on with a team this year and him being a full-fledged NBA player. So I'm respectfully disagreeing with Boss Health Matters. And that's what we do here sometimes. Gerald has brought up the respectful disagreement day. And here we go. Chris comes saying, I love RJ, but would you consider trading him for New Orleans 2 first-round picks? No. And maybe Kelly Olynyk. And that'd be messed up. You do that to Kelly. I think Kelly's back, like not really happy with the Raptors. You know, Kelly's kind of this weird guy. Like he's been an enemy to Raptors Nation most of his career. Then he came and played a season with us, and we love him, and he fulfilled a childhood dream. But then we traded him after he said he wanted to finish his career with us. So I don't know. He might be a little bitter towards us. I don't know. It'd be weird if Kelly came back all of a sudden again. I wouldn't mind it. I like Kelly. But I don't see this, man. And why is everybody so quick to trade RJ right now? I'm sick of this shit. People are getting too easy on talking about trading RJ Barrett from our team like he's expendable. I hate this shit, Chris. I really do. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy Saturday. I liked Orlando. She was in club on Team Orlando also. I remember when we were talking about this, Fiercy and I were very much on the same page on our opinions about Orlando Robinson. I liked Orlando, but for some reason he wasn't kept. I trust in Bobby Masai, so let's see what happens in the near future. That's right. In some ways, I wanted to kind of just like give him his due and let him know that you're not forgotten, bro. Even if it's not going to work out, you're not forgotten with us, and we are going to remember you forever. You'll go on that list with Bismack Biyombo as a one-and-done kind of player with us, Dennis Schroeder, and beloved by certain Raptors fans. And I man, he's a legend to me. He's an unsung, low-end Raptors legend in some ways, Orlando Robinson, to me at least. And other people may not see him that way. They'll be like, yeah, I can't do that, Lex. I can't see Orlando Robinson the same way as your eyes. I'm sorry. It's just not how it is. Chris comes saying, you want to replenish the Canadians on our team? Get Kelly back? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be upset if Kelly Olynyk's on our team. He's always got a green light to come here. Bobby Masai is saying, yeah. But in some ways, it's also like, well, I don't know how likely that is, seeing as we just traded him like not even 6 months ago, right? It's not that long ago we traded him. Fiercely saying he did seem to have great team synergy with us, wishing him the best. He was really fitting in the culture, and I could tell he was loving it. I could tell he really relished being a Toronto Raptor. And in some ways, he took to us in a good way. And I'm sad because I don't like seeing the Raptors gear and the Raptors colors and the stuff on his profile on social media change away from Raptors, Toronto Raptors center. You know, sometimes that's the saddest thing for me. When we have a player's change and I go to all their social medias and all of a sudden, you know, Fred VanVleet says Houston Rockets on it, you know, or Gary Trent Jr. says Milwaukee Bucks on it. That's sad to me. Seeing the player move on and their social media change. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, man. Kaz is saying, holy, 11 turnovers. Holy, it was me. Yeah, you have Aja, right? You have Aja? I believe you do. Yeah. Holy 11 turnovers, right? Tina Charles. What are you doing with your life? 11 turnovers. When I saw it, I thought it was a typo. I was like, how the hell did they let her get 11? If you do like 6 or I think if you get to 8 turnovers in the NBA, you're benched like automatically. So getting 11 turnovers, I mean, I've seen James Harden get 7 turnovers, but I've never seen James Harden get 11 turnovers. And I don't know if Tina Charles is trying to get a triple-double. You're going the wrong way about it, is what I'm saying. You're going the wrong way about it. That's right. Fiercely saying, yeah, Trevor, I'm looking at the great food you keep posting, and I'm judging. Why don't we get deliveries? Just kidding. That'd be a long DoorDash. You better tip that driver good. If they delivering from Trevor's to your place, MJ, oh, my gosh. You might have to airmail it or something like that. That food won't keep. You're just going to go up in the stratosphere in the plane, and it might freeze in the underhaul. I don't know, man. This is I wish maybe Trevor Jay needs to franchise his start doing franchises up here. Trevor Jay, you got family up here. Start doing a business up here. Trevor Jay's fancy food that makes you hungry when you didn't want to be hungry. That's what you could call it, man. That would be like a good catchy name. Trevor Jay's food that makes you hungry when you weren't hungry. I love you, Trevor. You're awesome, man. Speaking of food, let's do the straight goods on Canadian goods. Today, we're talking about Krabby Joe's, y'all. Krabby Joe's is a bar and grill that was started in Canada in 1996. It's almost 30 years old. It had a lot of locations for a while, but they've converted them over to Chuck's Roadhouse. And now there's only like 15 locations. Primarily, it seems, in London, Ontario. There's like 4 locations in London. There's not a single one in Toronto. And they're mostly just scattered all over Ontario in little small towns and places. But Krabby Joe's is it's a bar and grill where you can get seafood and stuff like that. And yeah, it was started by a guy named Gus. And if you want to eat Canadian, go to Krabby Joe's. You can do that at Krabby Joe's Bar and Grill. So check it out. They're in Cambridge, Brantford, Kitchener, Waterloo, Woodstock, Stratford, London, Strathroy, Sarnia, Essex. So they're really in kind of like Western Ontario, Southwestern Ontario, down there towards Windsor, if you want to go to Krabby Joe's. So there you go. You may remember Krabby Joe's from the man on the sign with the surly look. Krabby Joe's. That's just straight goods on Canadian goods right there. Bam, goes the dynamite. Infamous is here. Good to see Infamous. Good to hear from Infamous on the show this week. Fantastic to hear him on the Thursday Think Tank. Salute, freaks. Love the WNBA. Caitlin may be the face of the league, but the best player currently is Aja, period. She's the best player in the history. So there's some argument you can make about, like, Cheryl Swoops in the beginning, Lisa Leslie. There's a lot of different players throughout the history of the WNBA that were very top-notch and led the league, but not dominating like Aja Wilson. No. I say this right now. Aja Wilson is the greatest WNBA player that's ever played in that league in the 30 years that it's existed. Seriously. I always say that right now. I'll stand on that. She's like the Wilt Chamberlain of the WNBA. Let's just put it that way. She is the Wilt Chamberlain of the WNBA, Aja Wilson. I would say she's the Shaq, but I think she's a little early in the history, so she needs to be like Wilt Chamberlain. That's kind of who she is. That's her avatar from the NBA. She's the Wilt, the still. It's because she does things on a whole other level than everybody else, and she gets those body stats. And I'm telling you, the people that are gaining the stats and the fantasy teams for Aja Wilson, woo, they do pretty good. They do pretty good. That's right. Fiercey's saying there seems to be a discussion on Angel Reese's performances. Is she really good or overhyped? Why the hate towards her? This whole thing is in some ways a double-edged sword. It's a very, very good thing. They say all publicity is good publicity, whether it's good or bad. In some ways, the controversy between Reese and Clark is what has been elevating this league, just like Johnson and Bird in 1980 with the NBA. In some ways, they need this. In some ways, they're feeding it. In some ways, they want this. Now, in some ways, this is also, just like in the early 80s, a little bit of a racial thing. That was true with Magic and Larry, too. That there was some really ugly racial kind of shit happening and talk. But because there was no social media, it wasn't really manifesting in a place where everybody could see it publicly. But that kind of stuff was happening back then, too, and the same kind of actions. It's just that they were men and now they're women. And it's just sad because we're in the digital age, and you have a real forum for just being a racist, a misogynist, and a jerk. And there's a lot more people coming out like that. Some people hate success and people that they don't want to see successful. And there are people out there that are evil and wrong that don't want to see black people successful, that don't want to see women successful, and they don't want to see people like Angel Reese be successful. And that's part of it. That's why she's a lightning rod. And in some ways, they're using their low-key white supremacy to use Caitlin Clark as their poster girl to be like, oh, wait, all this stuff. That's really, I'll speak about it in very frank terms here and not mince words. People want to dance around it in other places, but this is just the damn truth. That in some ways, racist America is the reason for this. And it's not Angel Reese's fault. But I will say this, in a basketball way, I will criticize her. She's not playing as a team player, and she is screwing up the Chicago Sky right now. So regardless of all the circus that's around her with what I just described, there are serious problems with her on that team and what she's doing as a team player. She's not doing it right. She's playing very selfish, and she is not playing team basketball right now. And that is what's hurt the Sky so far this season. So she's the epicenter of that team, and they go as she goes. And if she wants to be selfish and she wants to call her number and force the ball and do all that kind of stuff, she's going to turn off her teammates. She's going to cause mistrust with her teammates. And that's not good chemistry. And in some ways, she is at the epicenter of that. That is fair. But maybe the criticism that's racial and all this other stuff that's coming from bigots and idiots and racists, that is not fair at all, of course. But there is some truth to her causing the problems on the Chicago Sky. So that's fair. That is fair about that. Trevor's saying Dallas News Stars she is injured with out with a concussion. Dallas News Stars? Who? What? Dallas News Stars? News Dallas Stars. What? Who? Wait, are you talking about Paige? Are you saying that Paige is out with a concussion? Why don't you just say Paige instead of saying Dallas's new star? Trevor, give me the name, full name answers. Don't half-ass me. You didn't even give me one cheek on that one. You didn't even half-ass it for me. You didn't even give me Page or Booker's. You just said Dallas's new star. I'm like, man, that's no ass. Trevor, are you no ass? Come on, give me a cheek at least. Come on now. Infamous saying, I will address why Angel gets hate on the next call and too much. Don't get into it too much here. See, I love this. Infamous could probably elaborate this way better than me. I mean, I kind of touched on it just now. I think hopefully I'm kind of was hitting the right notes on the piano with what I was just saying about the phenomena. And but I know that Infamous could probably put even more and flesh it out for us on Thursday Think Tank for sure. Infamous, you know what? If you want to call me right now, why not? Why not? I let Jerry call earlier. I'm not going to say you can't call me. You want to talk about Angel Reese right now and the reason? If you are free and you have my number, you can call me right now. We'll make it short, though. We can't have a half-hour call like we did the other day. But if you want to come in right now, you're free to call me right now. I'll put you on the air, Infamous. If you want to do this right now, let's not wait. Let's not wait till tomorrow, Jimi Hendrix. Let's go ahead and do it now. That's right. Fiercely saying, I had Alja in my fantasy last year. She was my kryptonite. Whoever has her is lucky. She was your kryptonite? Kryptonite's bad. You mean dynamite? She was my dynamite. You know, kryptonite's a bad thing, though. Kryptonite is your weakness. That's what that means, MJ, just so you know. I don't know if you're a big Superman fan, but kryptonite is the one thing in the world that could destroy Superman. It was his weakness. So when you say she was my kryptonite, you're saying that she was your weakness. That's not what she was. She was the opposite. I know in some ways we you know, I just want to help you out here. That's all. Okay, Infamous, that's right. I want to hear what he has to say. You can call me Infamous if you're able to. I know you may not be able to right now. Let's see. Part of the hate Angel and Caitlin get have nothing to do with basketball. They're being used as political fodder. Exactly. And in some ways, it's enhanced and there's more coming at you. You know, it's like hanging out with my dad yesterday, and he gets random videos that he's just watching over there from YouTube and Facebook and different places. I'm like, why did you get that? Like, why did you get what you just watched? And it was something from the WNBA, and it was like interesting. And it had maybe to do with Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese. They're putting them in the algorithms and they're force feeding content to an extent, and they're amping it up. In some ways, that's beneficial to the WNBA. But it's, you know, like I said, all the hype is good for the getting attention and getting the numbers up. But also at the same time, you know, there is a personal price for the people that are in the middle of it, like Angel. But Angel's a badass. She's tough. She's just say, I don't give a fuck. She's a badass. I think she'll handle with it. She could be a woman of controversy. She could be a little bit like a Dennis Rodman of the WNBA. And there's nothing wrong with that. As long as she's out there healthy and she's competing and nobody's trying to do anything crazy, like trying to attack her or do anything mean or something like that. You know, it's weird. They did this whole weird investigation about when Reese and Clark played each other in the last month when it was Chicago versus Indiana. And they made an investigation to racism around something. I don't know what they were investigating. Where were you investigating, WNBA? Because sure, the racism is there. You can see it. You were saying that you couldn't find any racism. Well, where did you look? Like, did you just go around the arena, ask people in the crowd? Did you hear racism at the game? Like when, you know, they slammed each other or whatever happened, that fracas with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese for that second, you know, was the racism investigated in the arena? Or are you going online and going into all the chat rooms and stuff? You can find it there. The WNBA declared, we didn't find any outward racism towards Angel Reese or Caitlin Clark in this situation. Bullshit. Y'all need to go look better. Y'all need to go look better. And you know, you may need to be there on the moment when you hear that kind of stuff in the arena. It may be, if that's where you were investigating. If you're looking online, well, you can find it. I can go find it for you if you want. If you can't think you can find it, that's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. Let's keep going. Fiercely saying great words of wisdom from Trevor Jay and Randolph. Always. And you know what? Let's do the words of wisdom from Leo Routens, since he's the third wise man. First of all, we got Savannah Hamilton back on this continent. It looks like she's at an NBA store. Or wait, no, she's not in this continent. She's in Athens now. She's jumped from Egypt to Athens, Greece, and she's in an NBA store where there's an NBA ball with all the logos on there. So pretty cool. There's James Harden on the wall. He looks like he's wearing a mask, but it's just his beard. Here's Leo Routen's words of wisdom. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking of yourself less. Oh, okay. I like that. We got Bruno Fernando walking around with the bag and looking cool. That's pretty cool. Jared Roden is down near the He's down near the CN Tower walking his dog, and it's pretty cool. So if you might see Jared if y'all are around Toronto and you're hanging out as a tourist near the Ripley's Aquarium and what is that place? The rec room. He's out there with his dog, man, walking. You could see Jared Roden just on the street because he's out there. I see him. He's on the street. He's got his dog out. It's like a poodle mix. Lloyd is celebrating somebody getting proposed to or something like that. I don't know what's going on here. Megan Puskar and Seth Bennett. I don't know if this is a personal friend of his or something like that, but I guess Lloyd is very proud as this guy's getting married. I guess Kyle Lowry is walking around talking to people. Let's see. Who's that? The 26 jersey. That looks like Brian Shaw, but it isn't. That looks like some sort of weird guy. I don't know what's going on there with Kyle. He's out in the streets with the fans, talking to them. Good on you, Kyle. You're a good guy. Scotty Barnes put in work down in Florida. We see a clip on his Instagram of him putting up shots on a nice court, and he's working on post stuff, man. I like that. He said he's going to work really hard this summer and come back with a new thing. I see him doing the footwork. He's calling it old school, man. He's taking it back to old school because he's doing the footwork. Maybe he's doing a little bit of Lajuan. Maybe he's a little bit like Karl Malone. That kind of stuff going on with him, with the hezzies and the pump fakes. So, yeah, Scotty, keep working on that post game. That's what I'm seeing right now. Scotty's working on his post game right now, guys. And that's good for next season. That's right. There's a nice picture of him wearing a nice purple jacket, his SB chain on, and there's his dogs, Cardi and Cece. So awesome to see Scotty so happy with his dogs. Very, very cool. Cardi and Cece are just, they love Scotty. You can tell. It's like just, oh, man, what a trio. Cardi, Cece, and Scotty. What a trio. Jacoby is still working out, doing stuff. He's got a throwback of Trae Young coaching young Jacoby in a game. So, of course, Trae Young is a mentor to Jacoby Walter, you guys. We got to remember that Trae Young is a big influence on Jacoby, and he is somebody who gives him advice and stuff. So, very, very important. Jacoby's putting a lot of work in. He's got thicker biceps, and he's putting in that work. In fact, you know what? I was thinking about this. We talked about the DeRozan code yesterday. The DeRozan code. Well, you know who's got DeRozan code? Jacoby Walter. Yeah. And he comes by it honestly. His name is Jacoby, and his influences of Kobe Bryant. And, you know, Jacoby's posting things about Kobe and what he would do to work out and how much of a maniac he would do so much more than other people to work harder. Anthony Edwards may be declaring on his way out of the NBA playoffs that he's going to work harder than anybody else this summer. But I don't know if that would be true because there's people like Jacoby Walter out there that are serious about this shit. And that's part of the DeRozan code. That is part of the DeRozan code. The DeRozan code is in the tree of Mamba mentality and Kobe Bryant. And Jacoby Walter is a disciple of Kobe Bryant. And by proxy, he is a disciple of the DeRozan code. So, Jacoby Walter, you keep living that DeRozan code. It'll make you have a long NBA career, and that is working hard, doing it all the right way, going through the hard stuff. Don't take the easy route and staying loyal. There you go. DeRozan code, Jacoby Walter. I see it in him. Emmanuel Quickly is up again at 5:30 in the morning. Oh, my gosh, Emmanuel. This man's living his best life, getting up early. And he's on a tour guide somewhere in Hawaii, and he's like with a bunch of random people looking at a sunrise over the mountains. It's very picturesque. It's like 10 to 6 in the morning, man. Emmanuel's out there early. And then he's in an infinity pool where it just looks so beautiful. It looks like he's a little chilly, though. Looks like it might be a little windy. But, yeah, Emmanuel Quickly's living his best life in Hawaii this week. That's right. Norman Powell with some people smiling. He's happy. It's his brothers. It's Norman Powell's brothers. Very, very cool. Let's see who else we got. Kelly Olynyk is posting, what is this? Some advice about kids and parents and basketball and slow grinding. I don't know what that's about exactly. And then Kelly's eating a roast beef sandwich au juice. Man, this guy's crazy, man. He's drinking a Peroni. Man, it's between Kelly Olynyk and Trevor Jay. You guys are the worst, man. Jamal Shed has another basketball camp, guys. He's not just doing a basketball camp in Houston. He's going to be doing one just across the border in Buffalo, guys. So June 14th, noon to 2 p.m. in Buffalo at 275 Oak Street. This is a pretty interesting camp name. It's the Cops Basketball Camp. It's children overcoming police stereotypes through sports. And, there's issues in Buffalo. There's been some situations that have happened there in recent years that have been not good. And in some ways, this has always been an issue with racial profiling with the police. And it sounds like Jamal Shed's camp in Buffalo is going to be going towards awareness on a very important cause. So you go, Shed, man. You're a badass for doing this. And I love that he's doing it in Buffalo. That's very regional for us. It is in the States, but it's very regional for Toronto. And that's awesome stuff. Good job, Jamal, going to represent the Raptors on the other side of the border in Buffalo, New York. There you go. There you go. Let's keep going. He's putting on blast Dennis Jenkins. He really loves. Oh, no. Who's that? Is that Sasser? Oh, he's putting on blast Marcus Sasser. That's who he's putting on. Yeah, his old friend Marcus Sasser. Scotty, more highlights of him working out and shooting shots on that court down in Florida. Very, very good stuff. Beautiful day outside. It was beautiful up here too, Scott. Trust me. I did a lot of yard work yesterday, and it was a lot of fun, and it was just beautiful. Perfect weather here in Ontario too. So you got it nice down there, but we do up here too also, just so you know. Grady Dick's got a cool pic. The Raptors of men put out of all the a bunch of the Raptors in their jerseys walking around the court. I love it, man. Show that Raptor pride, Grady Dick. That's right. Toronto Tempo has hired a new hire. There's a new teammate on the team. They've hired their assistant general manager to work with Monica Rogers-Wright, and his name is Eli Horowitz. Eli has worked as an assistant GM in the WNBA already. He's worked for the LA Sparks. So, yeah, welcome Eli Horowitz to Toronto. You're going to be working with Teresa Resch and Monica Wright-Rogers at the Toronto Tempo assistant GM. Eli Horowitz, guys, just so you know, they're starting to build the team more and more. We got a GM and an assistant GM for the Tempo now as of yesterday. Coach Andrew Jones put his son on blast. He's a strong toddler. He's a strong toddler. And yeah, they're at the Penn State with the Nittany Lion Shrine. And he's reuniting with his old teammates, Coach Andrew Jones of the 905, back in his old college stomping grounds. Like to see that. Toronto Tempo continues to ask people on the street questions about what they should do, like how they should do. One lady was asking what kind of cheers you should do for the Toronto Tempo. And there's something kind of similar to what I was saying a couple weeks ago about how I think the Tempo should have a slow clap build before their games. It's like where you start with a slow clap. They kind of do it at the Raptors game where the Raptors like clap, slow clap, and they build. I think that they should do something where they have an extended intro tempo beat that starts like maybe half an hour, 15 minutes before the game. And it's a noise that you hear, and it comes every once in a while, and the tempo builds is what I'm saying. It may come like every 10 seconds at first. It's like bing, and then bing. And like it's kind of a way for the fans to gauge in the arena how close we are to tip off, because they can hear how separated the tempo beats are from each other. Yeah, Lexa got some ideas. So like by the time it's getting close to tip off, it's going bam, 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 bam. You know, does that sound right? And it kind of mirrors a basketball sound too when you're dribbling real fast. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I like it. I like it. Teresa, I hope you're listening. Slim Doug has got this funny ass clip where he's got this guy talking about playing video games with his girlfriend, and he's like, he gets beat in front of his girlfriend. He's like, I had to defend my honor in front of her, so I had to keep playing, and I played 2 more hours. And it's like when you're losing streak, you got to keep playing until you win so that you don't look like a noob in front of your girlfriend. And Chris Boucher wrote, this is way too real. I mean, I've seen these guys on Twitch playing, Chris Boucher and Scotty Barnes. And man, when they lose, they're like, they get determined. They want to beat over and again. They'll keep trying. And when they lose too much, they throw the controller down and they rage quit. Oh, Chris, you're so real, man. I love you for being so real. You know what? I feel like, all right, I've been watching old sitcoms, and one of the shows I like to watch is original What's Happening from the 70s. Yeah, with Roger and Dwayne and Rerun. And Dee's the best character, one of the best characters in the history of TV. I'm serious, because Dee is like one of the most honest, truthful characters ever written. And because she was young and like that and sassy, she could say stuff to people that you weren't supposed to say to people. I feel like there's an energy of Dee from What's Happening in Chris Boucher. Like they're birds of a feather. Like Chris Boucher has a lot of that Dee from What's Happening energy. Like he will just call people out on their bullshit to their face. Trevor Jay knows what I'm talking about with Dee from What's Happening, man. That show is so awesome. I've been watching those old shows, and man, she's hilarious, man. I love that character so much, man. Jameson Battle is putting in work somewhere. Where is he? He's at Hoop Habits Training. So he's putting in the threes from the corner. I love to see Jameson putting in that work. Let's go, Battle. That's right. DeMar DeRozan is hanging out with some friends. A friend of his actually has a DeRozan shirt on in that picture. We love you, DeMar. DeRozan Code. Live your life that way. Our subject for today, Orlando Robinson. I've got him on the Instagram stories today. He is at the Tarkanian Center because, of course, he's Fresno State alumni. And Jerry Tarkanian is a big former coach for that school, and he's at the Tarkanian alumni, the Tarkanian Training Center. I believe it's in Fresno, although it could be in Vegas because Tarkanian was big there. So that's where Orlando is. He's putting that work there. And then also he went to a taco place and got some Mexican food, and he's really happy about that too. So that's what Orlando's doing, man. He's getting some good food, and he's at the Fresno State Jerry Tarkanian Athletic Center putting in off-season work. AJ Lawson is at OVO Center putting in work down there, and we see him smiling and sitting happy in his hometown playing for his hometown team. That's right. You go, AJ Lawson. There is your Instagram stories for today. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Interesting stuff going on. Scotty, everybody's working out. That's really what's going on with the Raptors right now. They're off on their own in individual places around the country and all over the place. But they're all putting in work. Even Emmanuel, who's in Hawaii, he's shown that workout room and he's getting his workouts in while he's in paradise. So yeah, even he's putting that in. That's right. Let's go. Let's go. Nako saying I wouldn't even get that comfortable with Colin. I just think Colin fits our needs better. Well, that's true. A certain section of the roster, you shouldn't get too comfortable for sure. You really got to ensconce yourself. That's why stories like Fred and Chris Boucher are so special, because those dudes came in with Exhibit 10s and 10-day contracts, and they've made themselves stick, and they have not gone anywhere. It is very much more likely for players like Robinson and Castleton to have shorter NBA careers and not get the big contracts and stay long. But that's the thing, Colin. If you want that chance, you need to listen to the coaches, put some muscle on, and develop your game into more levels, and maybe you will stick around this league like Chris Boucher has, because that's important. You got to learn your role that is useful to the NBA and makes you valuable to stay in the league. And in some ways, you got to build that reputation. And that's what I'm saying. We'll have to see. I think that in some ways, Colin does fit our team for growth in that way, because our team is going to be growing, every single one of those young players, and we want guys that are achieving and get better. I'm not saying that Orlando can't get better. I think he can. I don't want to slight him in any kind of way, because we're sharing the love for him today. That's right. Infamous is saying, will the visa issues shy American teams away from drafting him? Yeah, with Malawach. I don't know. Once again, everything that's happening with this presidency is a lot of hot air half the time. There's a lot of threatening, a lot of blustering, and then he's like not actually doing some of the stuff he says. In some ways, it's guys, it's like, I'm going to say I'm going to do all this stuff and scare the hell out of you, and then I'll do some of it and you'll accept it. It's really a twisted, messed up strategy that the White House is using right now. It's like an assault on all of us in all kinds of really horrendous ways, and it sucks. I think that in some ways they're full of shit when they're saying that it's going to be a problem for Common. I mean, listen, they are giving special treatment to celebrities in Trump's world. So I don't think Malawach is going to have any problem playing the United States. I think that any other South Sudan person would be hard pressed to get in the United States. But because Common Malawach is going to derive this, they will bend over backwards to make him a special exception. So I don't think there will be any issues for a Common. And that won't make it us have a favor in case. I don't think that they allow that. In some ways, they don't want to have a detriment because of that. So they say, no, he's a commodity. He's a specialized, gifted citizen, and he's not the average South Sudan person. So that's what's going to happen with that. You know, he's going to get special treatment. So he's saying, respect your grind, Lex. Very hard to stream live every day. You're the only Raptor YouTuber to do it. I appreciate that, Reggie. I really do. That's a very nice compliment. And man, I mean, it's crazy. Sometimes when I think about it, man, you've committed to doing this for almost 4 years now. And you have. And it's like you haven't changed your life. You've gone and done vacations and traveled, and you do everything that you want to do in those kind of ways, and you've let it all fit. And I appreciate that, Reggie. I appreciate that you recognize it, man. I appreciate that you do. And I love you, man. I appreciate you being here often, and I like interacting with you on the Discord. And also, you're a brilliant guy, man. You really do know your classic cards, man. Yeah, W for Nako. You guys like hearing Nako the Nacho's voice? You can see how he's a voice actor, right? Gerald's awesome, man. Gerald's so funny. We would, because of our age difference, we would do a lot of scenes in improv where I was like the dad and he's the son. It is just like stupid, man. And like we're very different looking on stage because I have no hair, right? I've been shaving my head for down 10 years now and not really had any hair. And Jerry has a fro. Like seriously, he has a fro. Like and so we look pretty funny on the stage. The absence of hair, and sure, cheap low hanging fruit jokes from that on me for having no hair. Sure, it's fun. Frizzy saying, Nako, hell no, man. Scotty won them over in the interviews, according to Masai. Yeah, there's the intangibles of that, too. I mean, what do we have from Josh Giddy before? Possible allegations of underage sex? Yee! And Scotty Barnes, he came in and charmed them and wowed them. And his combine stats were off the charts. And he was, I telling you, once I saw Scotty, the first time I saw Scotty's body, I was like, that dude's got an NBA body. He's got shoulders like Dwight Howard. And the promise of him coming in the NBA, it's pretty much more of a sure bet than some of those other guys around his draft, especially Jalen Suggs. So it's like if I was looking at those guys as a group, I'd say Scotty looks like the best player out of all of them if you're just looking at them physically. Like, seriously, you could look at him and be like, damn, that dude's like, he's got Kawhi hands. And look at his wingspan and look at the possibilities for him. I'm just saying. I think that Gerald's call was well intended, but man, it's fan fiction. And we can't think about Josh Giddy being a Raptors jersey at this point. Nah, we got our right guy. And I'm sick of this. None of this, man. Scotty's our dude. Stop making trade proposals for Scotty out of here. Same thing you're all doing for RJ Barrett, too. These aren't Raptors fans. These are other people coming in and trying to subterfuge. Now, here's an interesting thing that came out yesterday. They have the rankings of all 30 teams' fan bases on how toxic they are. It's very interesting, man. I'll go to Raptors Reddit for this. The listing is like this, man. It's like the Raptors are among the least toxic fan base in the league. And I'd like to think that we have something to do with this, guys, because in some ways we shame people for being toxic in our fan base now. It's an action where I tried to start this a couple years ago and it's been working. And I feel like people are more likely to talk up the Raptors than put them down. They did a thing where they looked at online social media posts for each team's fan base. And they looked at what percentage of those comments were negative or positive. And the worst team with the most negative comments, and this makes sense for this past season, was Dallas. 32% of all comments that had to do with the Dallas Mavericks this season were negative. So that's like a third of every single comment online that they looked at. But that makes sense with the Luka trade and the fans being pissed at Nico and kind of having problems with the team in general. The second most toxic fan base is Boston. They were the champs last year. And the fan base, they know if they're going to repeat, they got to be extra critical. So they're probably talking down their team the whole entire time. And in some ways, the Celtics fans are very toxic. It's proven here. Minnesota's number 3 on here. I'm shocked by that. Memphis is number 4. And Philadelphia is the third most toxic, the fifth most toxic, tied with New York. So New York and Philly have the same percentage of toxic comments in their social media. It's about 31%. So yeah, those are all the teams with over 30% of their comments being toxic. New York, Philly, Memphis, Minnesota, Boston, and Dallas. And well, the Raptors are in the bottom 5. The least toxic fan base on social media is the Spurs. Only 22% of their comments are toxic. Washington Wizards are 3rd. Portland Trailblazers, 3rd best. Utah, 4th best, and the Raptors are 5th best. Our percentage of comments online that are toxic and negative are 24%. That's not bad, man. I like that. That's really good. I like this. This is a good ranking to be on. And I feel like, once again, guys, good work. Let's clap for ourselves because we are a force of positivity in the Raptors Nation that is getting this percentage down for toxic comments. So good job, Raptors freaks. That's what I'm saying right there. That's right. We're doing good work here. And Masai and Bobby are happy about what we're doing. That's right. I'm sure they are. I know Masai talks about authenticity and he said he likes authentic people. Well, we are very authentic here, Mr. Ujiri. We are very authentic. That's right. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Smooth saying Josh Giddy. Well, he looks like a franchise cornerstone for the Bulls. This is the crazy thing. He may not even stay there this summer. Yeah, he's up for movement this summer, and in some ways, the Bulls have to reinvest in him to stay. He looked really good for them near the end of the season. And you're right. You're exactly right, Reggie. But this is the crazy thing. He could slip through their fingers and out the door to go somewhere else this summer. So they got to lock him down. And he's at the end of his contract and he had no extension on it, right? His rookie contract. Yeah, so there's no guarantee he's going to come back to Chicago. Chicago's in trouble. I feel for Mark Eversley. I like him. He's a former Raptor guy. And in some ways, he's had a whole problem since he's been running things in Chicago. Things have not gone well. And like DeMar said on the Run Your Game podcast this week, the Lonzo Ball injury absolutely destroyed them. And that nucleus they were trying to build in Chicago totally got derailed by the absence of Lonzo. And yeah, DeMar said in that interview, said when Lonzo got hurt, we didn't even think he was that hurt. We were like, okay, he'll be back soon. But then we started to realize, man, this guy's really hurt for a long time. And then everything went out the window for them in Chicago. So, yeah, I don't know. They got to lock him down this summer. Giddy could walk. I'm telling you right now. Fiercely saying, I think Giddy would have been a good fit with the team's flavor and culture, but I don't think he's the caliber or aura to be built around like SGA, Scotty, or Luka. Yeah, I mean, I could get that. In some ways, he may be a very talented passer and rebounder and all-around player, but he's not totally a great shooter. And I don't know what kind of leadership level he's on, like as far as things. Like it might be weird to have him be the franchise player and be barking out orders to everybody. I think that's part of the extra benefits of being Scotty or having Scotty is that he's a other kind of level of very charismatic, caring, connecting leader on the team. Like man, it blew me away when I saw him with that shopping trip with Jacoby Walter because he's really going the extra mile as a leader. And I don't know if Josh Giddy would do that. That's what I would say on that. I would just say that. I don't know if he'd do that. Fiercely saying he's got a great piece to a system, but not the main piece as he doesn't have the defensive aspect like Scotty. That's another great point. I don't know if Josh Giddy is the two-way player that Scotty is. See, that's just the thing. Scotty's a complete player. And that's why Masai Ujiri said we're so lucky we got the opportunity to land him because that kind of player is so hard to get in this league. It's like a generational player. You only get them once every 10, 20 years. So that's part of it right there. If it was saying Scotty's ceiling is way higher than Giddy, it's not even close. I would agree with this. Especially if he starts beating up those little babies in the post and he wants to average almost 30 points. You'll see it then. Mobley's garbage. Yeah, a fake defensive player of the year. You're such a good defensive player of the year. Well, the playoffs is where defense matters. And, well, y'all failed utterly. And the crazy thing is you have a former defensive player of the year next to you. And that's part of the reason why you look so good. You played your whole entire career next to Jared Allen, Evan Mobley. So know that your defensive prominence is partly pushed up just from him being next to you. That's why I don't believe in him being defensive player. Why him out of everybody? Seriously, it sounds like marketing by the NBA. In some ways, low-key slight to Scotty Barnes. So it's like why him out of everybody? You can give Evan Mobley a defensive player of the year before OG Anunoby. Fuck you, NBA. You're bullshit. Defensive teams have always been broken, obviously. This is the first year Lou Dort got the defensive team. Y'all have not been doing this correctly. Not at all. Seriously. Garbage. Exactly. So he's saying Scotty Barnes fits perfectly next to Brandon Ingram. I think BI is first option next year. Yeah. RJ takes turns being 2 and 3, with Scotty. Listen, I think that's what it is. These guys are not going to have to be the guy every single night. And some nights guys' biorhythms are up higher than the other guys. And maybe they get together and they're like, and then it's partly Darko assessing this and looking at the guys and kind of understanding what's going on with them and calling numbers as the coach. But also players kind of like, DeMar told the story once again on that fantastic podcast I keep bringing up the last couple of days about playing with Kyle. And Kyle was two modes. Kyle would either be, I'm going to score a bunch and shoot a lot, or I'm off tonight and I'm going to play more of a support role. And we saw that over the years with Kyle Lowry, the GOAT, on the Toronto Raptors. There'd be some games where Kyle's like being a ball hog and shooting like crazy and shooting a lot because he's got it. But then there'll be some games where Kyle Lowry's like, I don't have it tonight, DeMar. I'm going to play support and you guys carry. And that's what these Raptors are going to have to do. They're going to have to be honest with themselves. And when they're not feeling like they got it, they got to be like Lowry and say, I don't have it tonight. I'll play the support stuff. And one of you guys go and take the lead. And that may be a different guy on certain nights. It could be Emmanuel. It could be Brandon. It could be RJ. So we'll just have to see on night-to-night basis. And any fans that have expectations of how it's supposed to be every single night, get over yourself. They are not catering to you specifically in your own needs. They're catering to what wins and what makes sense in the basketball philosophies of Darko Rajakovic. So if Scotty's not averaging over 20 points again this season, don't start saying he's failing in his life. You idiots. It's like I get so mad about that. They don't understand what Scotty's doing to progress as a player because they're stupid and they're casuals and they don't understand basketball on a deeper level. They only look at points per game and stupid shit like that. All right, let's keep going. Fiercey saying, great discussion, Nako. Yeah, the Giddy thing was interesting. It's an interesting little brain exercise. I allowed it, even though I don't like fan fiction on my channel. Mostly Giddy in a Raptors jersey. I don't know. I'm much happier with Scotty. I think that they got it right. Yeah, let's see. Infamous saying the rule of thumb when drafting is higher picks you draft, the best available. Lower in the draft, you draft for need. Yeah, that's exactly right. Infamous is right. And that may be what they do. But wouldn't it be great if they could align both of those together with the 9th pick? And they could draft for need and the best available at that time. And it may be only if Common gets to that point. But who knows? Maybe there's a thing that's different. ESPN's latest mock draft 100 has got us getting a Senge, which I'm always suspicious when ESPN's telling the Raptors who they should pick. And that's why I'm a little suspicious of Noah. It's not because he may be good, and I've watched him, and he looks like he's going to be a good player, but I'm suspicious. Why is ESPN trying to push him on us? They tried to push Jalen Suggs on us before, and I've never, ever kind of want Masai and Bobby to follow what ESPN's recommendation is in their mock draft, whether it's Khan Knipple or Noah Asenge. I don't trust them. They have their ulterior motives for trying to funnel people to us. They started with Colin Murray Boyles, but now he's not going to us. They've changed it to Noah. So I'm suspicious. Let's just put it that way. And in some ways, I don't like following ESPN's direction. I'm sure Bobby and Masai don't either. So in some ways, I would tell people, you know what? Because they put Noah Senge as our mock draft pick in their latest mock draft, I'll bet you we won't take him. I bet you won't take him. We won't take him then. That's what I'm saying. It was saying, I believe Giddy got traded due to his poor physical. Hang on. It jumped ahead. I want to make sure I read this. Poor playoff performance and the off the court allegations with the young lady. I think that it was also that Oklahoma City's got a lot of tough choices to make, and they made one preemptively with him. And in some ways, they realized that this is the place where we don't need to necessarily have this really talented player on our team. And it's proven to be a smart move, because if they were going to prune their excellent tree of young prospects in the Oklahoma City Thunder, they picked the right branch to cut off because their success this year. So, I mean, that's part of the thing that they're going to have to do even more. And, you know, ESPN's trying to tout Oklahoma City as the next dynasty, like they're going to win and run off a whole bunch of championships in a row. Nope. No. And I figured this out the other day, and I put it in the Discord server. The NBA's new salary cap system is going to make it so hard to have dynasties and repeat champions, because this is what happens, guys. Oklahoma City wins. They win the championship. All of their players get looked at more under a microscope of want from other teams, especially the free agents that they have this summer. And this is what happens. Those guys that were on contracts with the Thunder this year, their price is a certain price, but the price has changed once they win the championship. And this has happened to every champion in the last few years, including the Raptors in 2019, where you get priced out on some of your important key bench and role players, and maybe even some of your important key players. And all of a sudden, you can't keep the same team together, and you just your team does go downhill and is not as good, Denver Nuggets. So it's just, this is inevitable. And I don't care who you are. You could be the Celtics last year. You could be the Thunder this year. You're going to have to get worse in the couple of years after the championship. So to repeat is especially hard. And let's not get it twisted. These guys are on rookie contracts in the Thunder, and these guys are going to want a lot of money. They can't fit all of them. So anybody who's thinking the Thunder are just automatically going to be a dynasty and they're going to reel off like multiple championships in a row, they haven't even won the first one yet, first of all. And second of all, if they win the first one, they're going to get priced out on very important key players in their rotation somewhere, and their team will not be the same. And it'll be so much harder to repeat. I'm just saying, this new league and the way it is, dynasties are over. And people that are looking at the Thunder and saying they're just automatically going to be the next dynasty that takes over and wins lots of championships, you're wrong. You are wrong, because in some ways this system is this way, and they will get priced out on their rotation. And people will walk that are key people that are in the ingredients for what made it them a championship team. Bruce Brown and the Nuggets. That's all I got to say on that. I mean, I see that right now. I see that coming. But I think they preemptively pruned off the Josh Giddy part of their team, and that was the right decision. Very smart by Sam Presti. But he's going to have to get out those pruning shears again in the years to come, according to the very big contracts that are going to be coming towards these young players on the Thunder once they get out of the rookie scale. That's just how it is, man. That's just how it is. Fiercely saying he may not have been traded if there wasn't that scandal with the teenager. I don't think the teenager thing had anything to do with it. I think he was exonerated on that, and that was all a bunch of horse crap. I think it more had to do with the fact that he's a point guard, and in some ways they don't need a point guard. They got SGA. And in some ways, a lot of the things that Giddy was doing were just extra on top, and they were not essential for them, obviously, because they've done very well without him. So he was just kind of a very talented player. And you know what? He may have fit in certain ways. It could have fit and changed and stayed there. I don't think anything was wrong, but in some ways, they also recognize that he's not totally essential, and that they could get somebody like Alex Caruso for him that may be even more helpful for getting in the championship with his experience of being there already with LA. So I think that's what it was right there. And in some ways, they did a cost-cutting move, because Caruso is going to be a lower-paid player going forward because he's older. And Josh Giddey's about to get paid more and more and more. And they had to do that, They had to do that. Yeah, let's keep going. Chris comes saying, like I said, I love RJ, but if we get New Orleans picks, then we get Common and a chance for 2 other good young picks. Yeah, I don't want to do this, man. In some ways, it hurts my heart whenever people are so quick to sell out RJ. I know you love him too, but man, we can't do this to our guy. Why is he so often the person in the Raptors fan nation that people are so ready to trade away? Why is that? I hate that so much. I want RJ Barrett to play the rest of his career in Toronto, and I'm sick of all y'all putting him in trade machines. I'm sorry. I don't want those picks. I'd rather have RJ. There's intangibles to him playing for our city. Trust me. And we're just scratching the surface with them. Because look at this. Once again, he's a young player. He's going to get better too. And that fight and that drive and that extra what he does for the 6, because he's from here, that is a really important factor. And that's part of the reason why people are trying to pull him out of here already. And I don't want that. I want him ensconced in a foundational piece of the Raptors' next championship team. Because think about that, Criscom. We win our second Larry O'Brien, and RJ Barrett is getting a ring and in Toronto for his hometown team. That is so sweet. So sweet. That is so beautiful. Honestly, that's what I'm saying right there. G saying RJ is our highest scorer. I believe in BI, but we haven't seen him play yet, and we don't know if he's injury prone. I don't think he is. Want to see how they look. RJ attacks a basket, giving space for BI. They're different players. They're Duke players. And I think they all complement each other, all the starting 5 of the Raptors. And, well, until we see it happen, we don't know for sure. We'll have to see. And, well, if it looks like things aren't working exactly, well, I'll be honest with it. And we will adjust, and we will keep moving forward to try and get the second Larry O'Brien with whatever we got to do. But it's not high on my list. I have a low proclivity to want to trade RJ. And it has to be a really, really good reason why. It has to be a really good reason. This is like DeMar stuff for me. I hated that they traded DeMar DeRozan off this team. And the same kind of feelings I have for DeMar DeRozan as a Raptor, I have for RJ Barrett as a Raptor. And that's why I'm telling people you need to respect this. Seriously. If you don't get this like I do, the DeRozan code and DeMar DeRozan and how he felt about Toronto, well, RJ, come on, man. He's a hometown hero. And in some ways, we got to respect that, Raptors fans. Stop throwing them in trades is what I'm saying. G saying Curry had 11 turnovers, actually. Joker 10 and Giannis 12 against the Raptors January 4th. Okay, yeah, I think I vaguely remember that Curry game. Yeah, it's going to happen on high usage guys, but I think it's just weird that, like, just out of the blue in that game, Tina Charles had 11. I don't know. You're right. This does happen. But in the NBA, most guys don't get the leash to go to 11 turnovers. They have to be very integral, like the 3 names you just put there. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Free Crew. WNBA continues to be fire as the NBA is nearing its climactic end. That's right. We got to see if your guy Siakam can get the job done tonight. New York City. Well, you're not in New York. You're in Indianapolis. And, well, y'all need to do this today, Pacers. You don't need to mess around with your food. You need to finish your plate. Because if you don't want to go back to Madison Square Garden. That's not going to be fun. The referees for tonight, the crew chief is James Capers Jr. He favors the Pacers. It's really interesting. Most of the refs favor the Pacers over the Knicks. It's because over the last 20, 30 years, the Pacers franchise has a way better win percentage than the Knicks franchise. So almost all these refs have really bad records with the Knicks and pretty good records with the Pacers. And that's the case again with all 3 of the refs. We got James Capers as the crew chief. Tony Brothers is the referee, and Tony Brothers does not have a good win percentage with the Knicks. And Tyler Ford is the 3rd ref, one of the best refs in the league, and he has a horrible win percentage with the Knicks also. Like the Knicks are a bottom 3 team for both Tony Brothers and Tyler Ford out of all 30 teams. They have one of the 3rd worst records in all the teams with those refs. So yeah, ain't looking good in that way. And at home, and Indiana needs to do this. You can't mess around with your food. You got to eliminate them tonight, Indy. Don't play around. The alternate is Curtis Blair. And in the replay center, Fred's best friend, Ben Taylor, is overseeing from the eye in the sky. That's right. Bam, son. Bam, son. Alan Tam. Bam, son. Bam, son. Fiercely saying, thank you for elaborating on the Angel Reese topic, Lex. No problem. My pleasure. Yeah, I think it's more complicated than just saying, certain things about it. I think that people are trying to kind of not overplay it, but underplay exactly what is out there because it is ugly and it's wrong and it's messed up. And in some ways, there's a lot of racism that's emboldened now because of certain political leaders in this world right now. And that's not right. That's backtracking. That's not forward. That's not progress. And the pendulum swings. And you swung this pendulum so far and so messed up this time, right wingers, that it's going to be repercussions for you guys for a long, long time. That this guy's doing so much damage. Nobody's going to forget it. And it's going to be really, really hard for Republicans to win going forward. I'm going to tell you that right now. And we're seeing the evidence in all the global elections since, as far as up here, Australia, Germany, and different other countries around the world. There's a rejection of fascist right-wing politicians in a lot of places. And we are voting for the people that are for freedom and not for dictators like Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin and Pierre Poilievre. So there you go. Boom. Bam, son. There you go, son. Alan Tam. Bam, son. Cool Cat saying, I'm a fan of Angel Reese and Clark, Aaliyah Boston. I stay away from the discourse from these players that started since college kids. It's manipulated for political discourse, NBA controversy, and money. Yes. It's not really a political topic, but people are forcing it into it and people are using it for it. And yeah, it's totally like stoking division in certain ways. And that's why I say, look, this isn't about race. No, this should be about basketball and competing. And these young women are competing. They're competitors and they have respect for each other. The other people that are embellishing things further with their own twisted minds of racism and stuff like that, you're the ones who are at fault. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese can play the way they play, and there's nothing wrong with it. And when they play that way, that is them staking themselves as professional basketball players as women. And there's nothing wrong with that. Y'all want to add all your bullshit and bigotry into it. That's your own damn fault. But seriously, there's a lot of respect between Angel and Caitlin on the down low. And it's very similar to Larry and Magic. Sure, they probably hate each other in public, but in some ways they understand that there's a relationship there that's really helping business right now. And they don't mind playing it up. I think that's part of the reason why Caitlin Clark has come out a little more feisty this year. And she's playing a lot more physical and a lot more emboldened in certain ways because she knows that that's good for business. That's good for business. Even that whole fracas between the two of them, I would say is probably half staged because you know what? If there's an opportunity and you guys can do this, it'll get eyes on our sport. And that's what we need. We need more attention. So it's the WNBA is doing a little part of it. The players themselves may be helping to kind of amp it up in some ways because they want the attention. And yeah, there are politicians and people outside of the WNBA that are utilizing the situation for their own gain also. Yeah. Yeah. Fiercely saying, oops, kryptonite is the bad then. Oh, okay. Aja was giving them the good stats. Thanks for letting me know kryptonite is bad. It's all good. It's not necessarily bad. It's just bad for Superman. It's very bad for Superman. That's what Lex Luthor used to cripple and hurt Superman and make sure that he couldn't do anything to hurt him. So yeah, that's what it is. Red kryptonite, though, is very good for Superman. It's like green kryptonite hurts him, but red kryptonite makes him stronger. So maybe you should have said red kryptonite, or maybe I should have just thought, oh, she meant red kryptonite. That is the strength. Yeah, yeah. There you go. We're doing some DC comics here, real quick. Alan's saying SGA is the league MVP and soon the NBA champion and Finals MVP. I think you're going to be right, Alan. I think you're going to be right. I love this, man. Alan Tam, look at where we came from, man. You and your prognosticating what Team Canada is going to be over the summer last year. You kept coming in here telling me this is who's going to be on the Olympic team, SGA, this and this. Now we get to say SGA is going to have that list, Alan. I love it, man. You're my buddy, Alan Tam. I'm going to give you a dunk for being just an awesome contributor to the Raptor Freak channel. 12 on the Raptor Freak dunk charts for Alan Tam. Bam, son. There you go. There you go. Kareem's here. Good to see Kareem, Thomas. Orlando Robinson would have been the perfect bridge to Jakob and Malawach. Maybe. I don't know. Bridge is right. I'm going to start siding with some of the people that were here earlier saying he's kind of more of a G Leaguer than that. He's not a G Leaguer per se, but I don't think he's a bridge in this sense. I'm respectful disagree on respectful disagree day. Creve saying also at Cool Cat, what about Nafisia Collier? She's a favorite of mine. Now, technically, she is battling Aja for being the best player in the league. You know, she was the best player and unrivaled, right? She was the dominant player in that 3-on-3 league this offseason. And she's one of the founders. And she's absolutely one of the top 3 players in the WNBA right now. But it's kind of hard to gauge Collier versus Wilson completely. In some ways, it's the resume of championships and awards that Aja's already got that maybe puts her above Nafisia. So I don't know. I don't know. But I know for sure that she's one of the best 3 in the league, Collier. Oh, yeah. Yeah. She's good. She's very good. Cool Cat saying, I admire Nafisia. She an excellent two-way player, should be MVP this year, but I'm staying loyal to my college girls I watched for a few years before becoming big stars. There you go. I like that. Emma was saying, Lex, you're a fan of What's Happening? Love that show. I agree. D is the best. It's unfortunate that the mother was taken off the show due to contract issues. My favorite sitcom is Different Strokes. I've been watching that too. You know, nobody talks about, like, I'm talking about child actors and black sitcoms right now between D and Gary Coleman that played Arnold Jackson on Different Strokes. You know, there was the thing about Gary Coleman, he was a phenomena. Like, he was a phenomena. He was like one of the most famous people when he hit on that show. And the reason why is not just because he's a cute kid. Because I'm going to say this right now. Emmanuel Webster, Emmanuel Webster, right? Is that right? No, Emmanuel Lewis, who played Webster. Similar kind of thing as Gary Coleman. But Emmanuel wasn't as talented as Gary Coleman. Gary Coleman was an amazing performer. He had amazing charisma. And in some ways, I'm watching some of these old episodes, and I know Gary's like pretty young. He's young. He's older than he seems because of the kidney thing. But he's so good, man. Like, even as a little kid, he made me laugh. But when I'm an adult and I come back and watch old episodes of Different Strokes, you just see how good Gary Coleman is as a performer, and just he makes you laugh. And he's just such a, oh man, so good. Yeah, I've been watching. There was one episode with Different Strokes I was watching where Arnold has to not eat sweets, and he's like hiding them from everybody. And he's like trying to talk to Willis and his sister, and like he's chewing like food, like while they're like talking to him. He's like, and then he like gets a powdered donut out, and he like starts eating it while they're in the other room. And then Mr. Drummond comes in. He's like, Arnold, I wanted to come in and congratulate you on not eating any sweets today. And meanwhile, Arnold turns around. He's got the powder all around his lips. And Mr. Drummond's like, Arnold, what is that around your lips? And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, it looks like you've got powdered sugar on your lips. Oh, no, Dad, it's chalk. It's chalk. No, it's so hilarious, man. And his facial expressions and the way he plays it is so genius. I'm telling you, man, we need to remember the genius of Gary Coleman. Seriously, he is a badass. And man, yeah, that show was one of my favorites when I was a kid. But those two characters in particular, Arnold Jackson and Dee from What's Happening, oh my gosh, man. They were awesome, man. I love them so much. Fusey saying, I'm honestly surprised the Lakers are not in the top 5 for toxicity. I would have switched them with the Wolves. That's weird. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Wolves. Let's see where the Lakers are. They're right in the middle. They're like 14th. They're just below Oklahoma City and just above Indiana. So they're like right in the middle. That's not where I would have thought they were. The Golden State Warriors are 19th. So even they are not in a really weird place. They are not as toxic. It's kind of a weird list, man. I would question the methodology of the study. Like, where did you go look at this? Like, where were you counting these? And you couldn't have looked at every single comment in the whole entire world to understand this. Did you use AI and metadata to figure this out? Researcher who came up with these numbers? I want to see the methodology of where you got these percentages. In some ways, I'm a little suspicious of it. Trevor Jay saying another Indiana Pacers fan got his jersey ripped off him after New York beat Indiana. Well, that's just low class. I'll just say that. That's low class. But hey, New York's got all types there. They got all types there. That's right. Kaz is saying Dyson Daniels should have been the defensive player of the year, in my opinion. I agree with this. But I guess being on Atlanta is not going to make a good case for him. I wish they just made Lou Getz it, you know? Lou Getz should have just been straight up the defensive player of the year. He's been so owed this kind of stuff, and Oklahoma City's been the top team in the league. They should have just made Dort the defensive player of the year, honestly. That's what I think they should have done. Dyson Daniels would have been better than Evan Mobley, though, too. Yeah, and Cass saying, no respect for defensive guards. It's all about the big man. I don't know. Marcus Smart won some awards, didn't he? Marcus Smart got some awards, but that was around when he was on the Celtics and his bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Kaz is saying, if ESPN's saying we're going to draft Esenge, it means Masai ain't picking him. No, I know. That's what I got to say to people. It's like, I may like Noah, but ESPN's saying this stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's going to tell me right now. I'm pretty sure we won't pick him. And that's good. I like that. I'm all about that. Fiercely saying Caruso was a great addition to OKC. I mean, that's the switch out. You get the veteran leadership and the treasure map of how to get to the championship for a young Australian all-around player that's very promising for the future, and you're kind of mortgaging some of that future for a guy who's he's going to be not in the league as long. But Caruso's been very vital and helpful to the Thunder and being more mature this year to elevate getting further in the playoffs. I don't know. Did they get past the Denver Nuggets in series of 7 games without Alex Caruso on the team and instead Josh Giddy? I don't know. I didn't watch, so I don't know for sure. Yeah. Cass saying, yep, ask Denver about losing KCP and Bruce Brown. They thought it would be easy to replace them. That's what I'm saying. A championship mix is a special, very specific recipe. And when you hit on that recipe one year, that recipe is going to change ingredients. It's kind of like, well, we can't have Salt this year because Salt has just been paid more by the Brooklyn Nets, and they're going to play for them now. So what do we replace in our ingredient list instead of Salt? Why don't we try pepper? We'll throw pepper in there. Okay, is that going to make it taste the same? No, it's not. And that's what I'm talking about right there. And Denver's a good example of this. Milwaukee's another example of this on the down low. Boston's going to be looking like this summer when they have to make some tough decisions with their core. Even though it seems like they can go forward with them, I think there's going to be some shuffling and in some ways a degrading of the Boston team as far as how good they are at the top of the Eastern Conference. It's natural with the new salary cap and what I just described. The achievement, the success of a championship gets everybody's eyes on you. All of a sudden, the Raptors win the championship. Everybody wants our players and coaches. Everybody's coming to vulture stuff from us. Oh, yeah, we want Kawhi here in LA. Oh, yeah, we would love to have Serge Ibaka. We'd love to get your coach, Adrian Griffin. Oh, yeah, that's what happens. That's natural. They break up the band after you win, because the other teams are like, they are successful, they're winners, and I want to pay a little bit more than they can pay to get that winner on my team. So it's natural that this is going to be the cycle going forward with a restrictive salary cap and limited rules that these guys can do. They can't just spend to keep the teams like the Golden State Warriors did for most of 2010s. That's not possible at this point. In fact, Golden State's got to play by new rules, and they can't operate like they used to. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. And the parity is something I like a lot. That's right. I like a lot. Fiercey's putting RJ on blast. I love it. Smooth saying, wow, now Minnesota wants KD. Wow, where does he end up? Well, as long as he's not in Toronto, I'm okay. I don't want him in San Antonio either. So yeah, KD, you go wherever, man. Go to back to Brooklyn for all I care. I don't give a shit. Once again, he's fool's gold. And you get Kevin Durant on your team, Fan Nation, whoever gets him. Don't just expect you're getting a championship automatically because you got old Slim Reaper. No. In some ways, he'll reap and kill your chances for a championship himself. He'll use that scythe on your own championship dreams. That's what I'm saying right there. If Wayne is here, good to see the Sergeant at Arms, Wayne Strainer. Morning, Raptor Freaks. OKC has the fundamentals more than any other team to win this year and to at least win more in the short term before salary payouts start taking their toll. They put the work in. Now, I won't disagree with you. In some ways, they got a lot of their guys on the lower scale, and they have a few years, right? But they're going to have to deal with this more and more each summer, especially if they get the success in this year. Now, could they repeat next year? Maybe. But this is the other thing. Every year is different. Next year, they could have injury problems, and they don't have the chance to get all the way to the top for an injury reason. Instead of not being good enough, it's just that they had a bad luck in the season. That's going to happen to some of these teams, and that will get in the way of dynasties also. That will get in the way of dynasties. Because it's like, you really do have to have a good luck year with injuries and not have any key ones, and especially in the playoff time. And, that's something that teams are going to have to deal with. Every year is different. Some years you have a very injury-free year, and there's no guarantees the Thunder will be absolutely injury-free next year. Let's just put it that way. But I will say Wayne's right. The window for the Thunder is a little bit more open because they have such young players, and they were ahead on their rookie contracts. But they're all, what's going to happen when Chet, Jalen, and SGA and all of them are going to need that money? Yeah, they're going to have to make tough decisions, and key players are going to leave. And that's just the way the NBA is at this point. That's right. Kaz is saying, Lex, I saw a graphic the other day about Instagram followers, and it was crazy to me how popular the newer players are getting compared to the older generation. You're talking about WNBA. You're talking about the WNBA graphic that you saw. Followers on Instagram for people like Angel Reese is number one, actually. Angel Reese has the most followers out of any WNBA player in the league. She has more followers than Caitlin, more followers, and Sabrina was like third. And Aja was on that list. Yeah, that was an interesting list. I saw that list too. Well, that's part of the new blood of attention and the new fans coming in. They're coming in that way, and they're younger, and they're more excited about the WNBA than ever. And those longer standing players, well, they didn't bring these people in. Reese and Clark did. And it's evidenced by that, what you just said. Wayne saying, I like Orlando over Cranston, Castleton. However, Castleton seems to have a higher ceiling potential. Yes, I agree with you. I hope to see Orlando invited back over the summer, if not inked up with another team. Yeah, I wish, like I said, I wish him well. I hope he gets on with the team next year and he can play. I'd love it for it to be us. I mean, I could see this. Like, could we see the Raptors go through some stuff next year? Hopefully not injury-wise, knock on wood. But all of a sudden, we put a flyer and say, hey, Orlando, we'd like to revisit with you. And can you come down and play with us again? I'd love that. I think he's in good standing with us. And, that could possibly happen. So who knows what's down the road? There could be a path where Orlando Robinson's putting on the Raptors red again and getting out on the court at Scotiabank Arena. So we'll have to see. Anything can happen. And since he's such a kind of a free agent and a quantity that's out there for somebody to take, we'll have to see how it shapes up in the fall. We'll have to see. Who knows? Maybe he does get invited to training camp somehow, some way for the Raptors. Kaz saying Paige Bookers. That's right. That's the young star for Dallas. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark have more followers than most any other WNBA player. Just shows how the league is getting more recognition nowadays. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And Kaz saying, with all the dumb Leaf fans we have in Canada, I would have expected the Raps to be a more toxic fan base, but I'll take 25th or whatever we got. We got 25th. 25th most toxic, 5th best fan nation for not being toxic. So, yeah, that's pretty good. Like I said, I'd like to think that there's some work that we've done here that's contributed to this outcome, because Toronto Raptors fan nation can be very toxic. We've seen it. We very much can see it. That's right. Trevor's saying Indiana better get the job done. You don't want to go back to New York. That's exactly right. Facts. All right. Classic card from Trevor Jay is what I'm seeing next. All right, I don't want to get one of those ticket cards. Those were annoying. All right, we'll just grab this one. This one's interesting. I don't know if you guys will know this player. It's a classic one. So let's see. It's classic Skybox. Who is this player, guys? Full name answer, please. If you can tell me who this this is a nice looking card. I like the graphics on it. Looks pretty cool. The ball with the little streaks on it. But who is this player? I'll be very curious to see who knows who this is. Yeah, what is that jersey, guys? Is that jersey? That's a Kings jersey. So who is this player? This is the classic card of the day. Full name answers only, please. Do not give me half their name. That's half-assing. We need the full ass answer. That's what we're saying here. So who knows who this is? Make sure you're live on the screen. I guess telling you right now doesn't help you if you're not live. Hit that live button in the corner and make sure you're actually up to date with where I am live on the stream and not falling behind like maybe a minute or two. So you can get the classic card. Nobody's getting this. Wow, this is interesting. I want at least a guess before I give you guys clues on their name. So please give me at least one guess or two guesses, and I'll give you clues on the name. Let's see. Trevor's talking about in the history of the NBA, only 5 teams have not made it to the finals. Charlotte, Minnesota, Memphis, the Clippers, New Orleans. Yeah, that makes sense. I remember none of those teams have been in the finals. Mitch Richmond is a good guess. He did play for the Kings, but that hairstyle is not a Mitch Richmond hairstyle, is it? No, it is not. I'll give you a clue on the last name. I guess his last name is something I would see in the yard singing. Yeah, his last name is something I would see in the yard singing here at my house. His last name. I don't know if that is helpful. That may be too general. Give me another guess, Slug Deezy, and I'll give you a clue on his first name, and that might give you the whole picture. Yeah, his last name is something I would see in my yard singing. Yeah, is what his last name is. But yeah, give me one more guess, and I'll give you a clue on the first name. So yeah, I got a good clue for the first name already. So yeah, Mitch Richmond did play for the Kings, and he was their main guy for a couple of years there. This guy was not really a main player for them. This player played for a lot of teams in the league over his career. Most notably, I believe he played for Chicago and New York, other than Sacramento. So I don't know. You guys may not know this player very well because he's kind of a forgotten classic player that does not get talked about very often. So this is interesting. Nobody's guessing right now. Mitch Richmond's your only shot, Slug Deezy. Nobody else wants to take a guess on today's Sacramento King classic card. His last name is something that would be in my yard singing. Kaz has no idea whatsoever. Should I bring it in even closer so you can really, really see him? He kind of looks like a guy who used to play for Michigan State, but it's not him, just so y'all know. That would be Cleaves I was talking about. It is not Mateen Cleaves, but he kind of looks like him a little bit in the face there. I don't know. Man, I really don't want to have a Ofer today. This guy is not like that. You should not. Where's Isaac Campbell? He'd get this one. The benevolent one, Isaac Campbell, would know who this is. And if he's watching me on replay and he's yelling it at the screen after the fact, well, Isaac, I know you would have gotten it if you were here live. There we go. Slug Deezy figured it out. His last name is Sparrow, which is something that would be singing in my yard. I was going to say his first name is Golfer McElroy, right? Rory McElroy. So Rory Sparrow is the player right here. Rory Sparrow. And here's another picture of him on the back. Rory, 6'2" guard. Yeah, he was all right. Yeah, that's tough, man. That's tough. All right, so Slug Deezy, you get the Rory Sparrow. It's going to be 200 because obviously we struggle with that one. There was some struggle on that one. So Rory Sparrow. Yeah, y'all didn't know about Rory Sparrow? Now we know about him a little bit more. You're going to be like, oh, Rory Sparrow, I got to go find out about this guy now. He wasn't a bad player. He kind of was finishing his career up a little bit when I started watching basketball. So, yeah, good job, Slug. Good job, Slug. All right, let's see. Let me go check my tabs real quick and see what I was saying. Kaz, you were born in 92? Yeah, this card is older than you. This card came out in 90. This is a card that's older than you, Trucker Kaz. That's right. That series was an old series. That's right. All right, let me check my tabs. Like I said, we did the Raptors Reddit kind of already because we looked at this toxic thing. Let me see if there's any other posts on here I want to note. Raptors Reddit's kind of been out of pocket with their trade bullshit on here lately, honestly. I've been kind of pissed off at them. Like there's this one guy who's that poll on here. He's saying in a trade down scenario, what is your ideal asset for the Toronto Raptors to receive? Who cares, man? You're just putting all this bullshit on here. It's like, we don't even know, man. Why do you even do this? It's apparently Doug Smith is saying on the Toronto Star that Colin Murray Boyles is drawing comparisons to Draymond Green, but he is a risk for the Raptors to draft. And I agree with you, Doug Smith. And it's probably because of his size. That's right. That's probably because of his size. Let's see what else. I don't think there's anything else that's that interesting on Raptors Reddit right now. No, not really. Let's see what's going on in Blue Skies. Is there anything breaking news or interesting there? Doesn't look like it. Just looks like bullshit there. There's no birthday today, unfortunately, guys. Sorry, no birthday. We're almost at 2 hours, so maybe we'll just wrap it up real quick, man. Cass saying, every time I look at the comments on Reddit, I cringe. Yeah, I look at the post. I try not to go in comment sections of anywhere anymore. In some ways, comment sections are just not places to be. You know, it's true. Like, bots are in full effect. They have been for a few years now, but there's more awareness of just how prevalent bots are. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, there's bots in everything now. There's definitely been bots around Toronto Raptors fan nation and social media, but they're in everywhere, and they're crazy, and they're just more prevalent. So it's like, comment sections are not worth reading because you don't even know if you're reading the comments of somebody who's real. You could be reading the comments that are generated by a bot. And, you know, there's ways to suss out what's a bot and what isn't. You know, go look at the profile. Go see if they seem like a real person. Go see if their posts are just repeated posts in a lot of different places saying the same damn thing. You know, that was a very dirty tactic that's been used in politics to influence soft-headed people like our old friend to like get into wormholes because they think it's popular, because all of a sudden all these bots are saying certain things. They think it's actual people, and they're like, oh, this is the popular choice. And people that are weak and don't stand for themselves like to go with the crowd. They'll go with the supposed crowd that is portrayed by bots, but it's not even a real crowd. It's a fake crowd. And that's half of what MAGA is, y'all. MAGA is not a real, totally big thing as much as people are. They're inflated themselves. In some ways, they peacock themselves up with feathers and like, oh, we're bigger, because they're enhanced by bots. And half the shit that supports MAGA online isn't even real. It's not, just so y'all know. Boom goes the dynamite. There you go. Wayne saying, when's draft day? And Kaz has got the answer. June 25th and 26th, I believe. That's right. That's coming up in a couple weeks, guys. We're going to flip the calendar tomorrow to June, and that's the draft month. That's right. Merci beaucoup. That's right. Tomorrow, guys, Sunday special report. It is the evolution of Pascal Siakam. I'm going to try and reattempt what I was going to do last Sunday, and hopefully it'll be even better to do it tomorrow, because the Pacers are going to the NBA Finals after they defeat the New York Knicks tonight. So, yeah, the evolution of Siakam, Sunday special report. I hope you'll join me as I do a deep dive on why Siakam did what he did to get to this point in his life. What is the difference? And, yeah, the DeRozan code factors into Pascal's life too. And we will be talking about that tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. I appreciate everybody watching me for today on today's Share the Love Club for Orlando Robinson. Orlando, man, keep your head up high, man. You had a career year in your NBA career with the Raptors this year, and we want to see your career year get better going forward. And in some ways, I wish you were still on our roster. So I wish you well going forward, and hopefully you find your way back to us somehow, some way. But if not, I'll still cheer for you, because you are, a low-key cult hero, a Raptor legend to people like me, at least. Casuals may not remember you, and they'll forget you in a heartbeat, but not me, man. You'll never be forgotten here. And your sacrifice and physicality that you put out on the court for the Raptors this season was appreciated. Let's just say that, okay? Let's just say that. W Stream, W Community, thank you, Kaz. I appreciate you, man. Yeah. The classic car may be older than you, man, but you're an awesome guy, man. I love you, man. All right, let's get out of here. Let's enjoy our Saturday's touch grass and get out there and have a fantastic day. I'll see y'all tomorrow for the Sunday report. Let's go, Raptors. Yeah, baby. Woo! Woo! Woo!